With only 2 teams on bye for week 7 of the NFL season, there is likely a plethora of players that you are deciding whether to start or sit in week 7 of fantasy football. So we're going to help you out with that today. 18 different players who will change your outcome against your opponent this week. Fellas, as we always do, we're going to start at the running back position, starts and sits, move to the wide receivers, wrap up with a few quarterbacks and tight ends to potentially fire up at the end of the show as well. Cameron, Quinshon Judkins, a down week last week, but he gets the matchup of all matchups this week to make sure he bounces back against the Miami Dolphins. This is just a smash start.
Yeah, he plays the Dolphins. Do you know how many total yards Dolphins are giving up on average to running backs each week? This is receiving and rushing yards. I'll let you two guess.
The most. It's probably 200 plus.
It's close. 180 total yards to running backs is what they are currently giving up. 45 receiving yards a game and 135 rushing yards on 5.6 yards per carry. Quinshon Judkins, except for last week, was seeing 18 to 22 carries a game. Last week was a weird week. I expect them to get him right back on track. He's at 84.5 rushing yards, and honestly, if you're playing the Dolphins, that feels low. And if you want to know why we think that, just ask Rico Dowdle 2 weeks ago against the Dolphins. It's just teams have constantly beat on this defense, and I think that Quinshon, that's probably not the best thing to say, but I think Quinshon Judkins is probably the next guy to do it.
I mean, you even talk about 84.5 potentially being too low for Quinshon Judkins. How about 17.5 longest rush? The Dolphins are giving up an explosive run, 10 yards or more on 10.5% of carries this year. Look, if I'm the Cleveland Browns, I don't want Dylan Gabriel throwing the ball 52 times like he did last week. This is, to me, Ty, just a smash spot for him to bounce back. Again, if he gives you 100 plus on the ground, I'm not going to be surprised at all. If he gives you 1, if not even 2 touchdowns in this game, also wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, don't really know what else I can add. Like, this is the perfect matchup for the perfect offense and want to feature their star running back in Quinshon Judkins. Honestly, if you're choosing between a guy like Saquon Barkley and Quinshon Judkins, if you can find
there's a conversation.
There's a conversation. I might lean Judkins just because Philly is not convincing me right now. I might lean Judkins, and that might sound crazy because they're playing Minnesota, but man, like whenever you see your running back going up against the Dolphins, you have to keep them and put them in your lineup no matter what.
Yeah, you even just turn on the film with Judkins and you can just tell this dude moves differently, looks incredibly explosive when he does get a hole behind this offensive line. Against the Miami Dolphins, you absolutely fire him up. Before we get to the rest of the running backs, though, if you haven't hit that subscribe button already and you've been watching our content for some time, make sure you do that. Turn on that notification bell as well so you know when all of our newest content is up. Our goal, yes, provide you all the insights that we're using to beat our friends in fantasy football, to literally beat one another in fantasy football as well. But we want to remind you of the fun and camaraderie that comes with the game of fake football, the unifying fake game that we all love and get so invested to every season. So we would appreciate it if you join us on our ride here. Ty, I'll kick it to you. Look, Jordan Mason against the Eagles, people might look at that and think, I don't know, it's not a great matchup, but I don't know, man. I also don't think it takes being a childhood crayon eater to bulldoze through a wall in order to be good against the Eagles. Like, I actually think this Philadelphia Eagles run defense, oh boy, I think it can't be taken advantage of.
Yeah, they're reeling right now. And if it's, as evident as possible based on getting absolutely run over by the Giants, Cam Scadaboo having 3 touchdowns, it got to the point in that game where they got Devin Singletary in the game and he was juiced up and running over dudes. Like, Philly's run defense right now is not physical enough. It is not, some people have used the word violent because at least like last year, Philly went all out when it came to stopping the run. They're not doing that this year. So you get a Minnesota team coming off of a bye week, getting healthier on the offensive line. Donovan Jackson should be back. Brian O'Neill should be back. Things are kind of looking up for Jordan Mason. We're not going to get Aaron Jones just yet. He's expected to be back for week 8. So this is just yet another game where we're going to see a lot of Jordan Mason. And like I said, with Philly's defense not playing well enough right now, at least in the run, they're allowing the 3rd most rushing yards per game the last 2 weeks. tied for the most rushing touchdowns. Jalen Carter was practicing on Wednesday. I do need to state this. So yes, it does make it a little more difficult, but at the same time, Denver kind of took advantage of this run defense when Jalen Carter played back in week 5. I like Jordan Mason this week.
And this is just an Eagles defense that we're used to seeing at the bottom of the pack in terms of EPA per rush allowed, like negative EPA per rush allowed. They're now like positive EPA, which again, it's decimals that we're looking at here in terms of expected points added per rush. But the Eagles are 22nd in that department this year. So you can run on the Eagles and find success in that department. Cameron, where are you kind of ranking Jordan Mason in regards to that this week? Because again, I agree with Ty. I think Jordan Mason is a fine start this week. Is he one that for sure cracks your top 15, or is he still kind of sitting in this RB 16 to 24 range?
Yeah, he's still in the RB 16, 24 range. And for me, it's just, I know he's going to get volume early, no matter who the quarterback is, but especially if it's JJ McCarthy, we just haven't seen enough where I know what I'm going to get in the second half. I know the Eagles haven't been great on offense, but if they're down 21-0 going into, halfway through the third quarter, are they going to be running the ball quite as much? Especially for a guy like Jordan Mason, who only nine receptions on the year. So that's my concern, is I'm just not at a point where I feel comfortable that the offense is for sure going to be in a spot where they're going to continue to run. But with that being said, like you guys have said about the Eagles defense, they're not a dangerous matchup anymore for running backs. So I think you can start him. I just don't have the confidence to be pushing him up top 15 or something like that.
Sure, which I think is entirely fair. I think Jordan Mason is a perfectly fine play this week, but don't hear what we're not saying. He's not going to have a Cam Scatterboo kind of week where he's giving you 3 scores on the ground. If he does, look, we'll gladly be wrong about it. We did say start him after all, but mostly saying Jordan Mason is a fine start. He's not all of a sudden this top 10 play against the Eagles this week, but a piece you should be playing. I do question though. Maybe I'll actually ask this. Would you all rather start Jordan Mason this week, or I will refer back to Nick Ericolano's tweet from earlier this week. If your player on your fantasy team plays the Dallas Cowboys, the Miami Dolphins, Cincinnati Bengals, amongst other teams, they are simply doing their job as an NFL player, right? Bill gets the Dallas Cowboys this week. All right. He played a season high, 66% of the snaps against Chicago last week, and also a good matchup. Got 17 carries and also a season high as a result. I know it only amounted to 61 yards, but this Dallas Cowboys offense is just so bad. The third most fantasy points per game allowed to running backs, 5th in explosive run rate allowed. Over 7.5% of their runs allowed go for 10 plus yards, and they're bottom of the barrel, 27th in EPA per rush allowed as well. Let Bill do his job this week. All right. By letting him create explosives, which is what he's good at in the run game against this Dallas defense that you just turn on the film, they just look absolutely sorry out on the football field right now.
Yeah. I mean, really the only thing that feels like it could derail him again is another fumble. 2 in the last 2 weeks. I mean, he had 2 last week, but one of them definitely wasn't actually his fault. It was Jaden Daniels couldn't hand the ball off to him, but they had one the week before as well. So that would be the only concern. I would assume at this point, right, if you're a pro, you're not going to fumble 3 weeks in a row. Again, same thing with Jordan Mason and Quinton Judkins, just not involved very much in the passing game. But Dallas is too good of a matchup to pass up. They are getting run all over. Again, just ask Rico Dowdle, who did it last week to them,
right, and
pretty much everybody else who's played them. They are giving up a lot of rushing yards right now.
Literally anybody else who plays. Except for freaking Saquon Barkley. Ty, Ja'Cory Krosky Merida, your start of the week, Jordan Mason.
I lean Bill.
Because I think this is a question people will have, is one of these two guys. Because it's guys, Jordan Mason you took in the latter part of your fantasy draft, and Ja'Cory Krosky Merida you might have picked up off waivers before the season started.
Yeah, I should clarify. My reaction was not so much of it's close, but more so I hate to admit that my start is probably the least favorable of the 3.
That's not the point.
This is the point, though. I may or may not have Bill ranked as a top 12 running back on the week.
Boom. I mean,
Wow.
I kind of agree with you on that. I got to finalize my rankings, but I do think Bill's going to be inside of my top 15 for sure this week.
Everything checks out. Very similar to Quinshon Judkins. Everything checks out here. So why not? Why not have confidence in it then?
Yeah, why not have confidence again? It's the Dallas Cowboys at this point. If you have any player, any running back going against the Cowboys or the Dolphins, you fire them up. No questions asked whatsoever. Let's move on to running back sits, players we have less confidence in this week. Tony Pollard against the New England Patriots this week. I'm totally good with this because this Titans offense looks in complete disarray. You remove Brian Callahan from the equation, which I don't know. Do you get a little bit of the interim coach juice here to give this offense a needed boost? Or is it just going to be more of the same?
I think it's going to be a lot more of the same, especially going to play against Mike Vrabel, who you fired a year ago, and his team, who is absolutely rolling right now. I think Tennessee could get pummeled in this one. I'm also not convinced that Tony Pollard is going to be the full-time starter moving forward anymore. Tyjae Spears played more snaps than he did last week. Would imagine as this team's going, they want to see what is Tyjae really going to give us. You know, if we give him more of a workload moving forward, do we want to extend him? Because we know Pollard's at kind of the end of his time in Tennessee, no matter what happens next year. And New England, you know, like I said, they're rolling. They're also on the 5th least amount of points to fantasy running backs. So not going to imagine he's involved in the passing game. Don't expect him to score much, and he's been inefficient so far, and I expect that to be much of the same this week.
Yeah, I think any sort of fire you get from the interim head coach coming in to prove themselves, to prove that this team still has some juice, is completely nullified. In the Brian Vrabel revenge game, if you will, Ty. Like, this is one where I think I'm going to have Tony Pollard pretty safely ranked outside of my top 25 this week. I wouldn't even be surprised if he ends up falling outside of my top 30. Like, I'm not interested in this Titans offense against the Patriots. And I'm kind of with Cam. Like, I do wonder. I'm not saying the pendulum is fully going to swing back to Tyjae Spears, but this might be more 50-50 than we want to admit. Kind of like we've been predicting now here. We're never wrong, just early.
Did you call him Brian Vrabel?
Did I say
No,
Brian
Mike
Vrabel?
Oh,
I might have combined their names. I was thinking Brian Callahan getting fired and then Mike Vrabel. I might have combined the two. I wasn't thinking.
Brother,
you interrupted me. Now people think I'm an idiot. They clicked off the episode already. They heard Brian Vrabel and they're like, this idiot, he doesn't even know what coach he's talking about. And they clicked away. You should have interrupted me.
The worst part is that not only did they click away, but you're going to have Mike Vrabel absolutely come like steamroll through your apartment. And you're
Mike Vrabel's going to be knocking on my door at 11:30 p.m. tonight when all the street lights are out. And
who's Brian?
Who's Brian?
Yeah.
Coming down his nose.
Tony Pollard is my running back 30 on the week. I've got zero faith. Tony Pollard has at least been mentioned in trade talk rumors. So if the trade rumors are true, I wouldn't be surprised again if that's even more proof that like we would see a 50-50 or we would see more Tyjae Spears, who they have been favoring in negative game scripts.
Yeah, I'll come right back to you here because another unfavorable matchup for a guy that I'm really trying to lead the free Ken Walker club because I just want this dude to be the guy in Seattle. I think we can stop trying to make Zach Charbonnet a thing based on almost identical amount of carries. And Ken Walker has generated almost double the amount of rushing yards that Zach Charbonnet has this year. I don't know if that game's against Houston though, Ty.
I don't think so. I will say, I think if there is a week that we see more Ken Walker than Zach Charbonnet, it is this week, just because I am saying Ken Walker is a sit, because that is my luck.
I put it out into the world, therefore.
I am the sacrificial lamb in this equation. Okay. I'm taking the fall here so you all can enjoy your Ken Walker shares. Like you said, this matchup against Houston is not good. Home or away, not a great matchup for a guy that is only getting early down work, no goal line, no third down, no like we're asking for a lot with Ken Walker, and the matchup just isn't there. Houston's allowing the second fewest yards, rushing yards per game in their last 3. Also the 3rd lowest yards per carry. So for a guy that needs explosive runs to kind of make his week worthwhile for the 5th time now, this is not the matchup.
And the thing I'm concerned about here too is I could imagine teams might want to start locking in on JSN more, Cameron, with how dominant he and Sam Darnold have been. But the Houston Texans secondary is also pretty bang up. Like this is a very solid secondary where they don't have to try and focus on selling out to stop the run and or focus on drawing back too much of the defense to pay attention to the JSN and avoid selling out on the run. Like I think this defense is just so well rounded to the point where you can but you can limit both options for the Seattle offense.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you're not really going to limit Jackson Smith-Njigba at this point. I don't think.
Limit quote. Like,
he's on an absolute.
Oh boy, 6 for 70 this week.
Like, oh no,
exactly. Yeah, and probably a touchdown, and then so maybe 3 passes.
It's not 7 for 125 or anything.
Yeah,
right.
And so I don't know. Ken Walker's so tough because it really is just he's so explosive. He is so much better, but they just don't use him. And so I just think, I don't know. I feel a little bit better about this one than the Derrick Henry one last week, where you went all in.
Can we just admit that game went nowhere near to what everyone thought it was going to?
I wasn't going to bring it up.
I was giving you props because you are a lot more ballsy than I am going with. You're giving these people some hard hitters here, so I'm giving you props.
I'm with you on Ken Walker.
I wasn't calling you out on Derrick Henry, right? And you got lucky. You did get lucky because they decided to try to do a Mark Andrews tush push twice in a row instead of running it in with Henry from the 1. So
you got saved. Wild.
You got saved there. But yeah, I think he's a fringe top 20 guy. I think he's a guy that.
Oh, fringe top. I'm not. I'm out. I'm closer to 30 than I am 20.
I know we're going long. I just wanted to do a quick name game here. Here are some names that I've got between 20 and 24 ranked ahead of Ken Walker this week. Kimani Vidal.
Oh boy, I'll probably go Vidal
against Indy.
Yeah,
I'm taking Vidal.
I still think I'm going to go Walker.
Okay. David Montgomery.
Oh boy, that one is tight. I'll leave Montgomery. More faith in the offense, even though Sam Darnold's been playing really.
Yeah, good. I'm probably because I think Monty's more likely to score touchdowns. So I'm gonna go
that too. Yep.
And last but not least, our favorite conversation this week.
Oh no,
Rico Dowdle and or Chuba Hubbard.
Oh man.
I'm gonna go Ken Walker because I just have no idea what Carolina looks like. Right. I think they could
more clarity on that Carolina backfield. I at least know what Seattle is.
Yeah. It'll also depend watching practice reports. Like if Ken Walker is barely practicing and they're like, hey, we're going to throw him out there, then yeah, maybe I go Rico just because I don't think Chuba's going to play much.
Against the Jets, though?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Walker just because I have no idea what I'm getting out of that Carolina backfield.
Jets, but what if we don't need to know?
Well, I feel like you do. I feel like you do.
I guess that is coming from the guy that thinks that Breece Hall is going to have like 10 catches and 200 rushing yards and carry the Jets to a win over the Panthers. So it makes sense. It makes sense.
No, I think he's going to be a Chief by Sunday. So
I think if I sleep on this for another day, I might lean the Panthers running backs.
I'm going Ken Walker.
If it's the problem is if I knew it was obviously if you know it's Rico Dowdle, it's not a question whatsoever. But the matchup against the Jets can be run on this year. The Texans can't. And there's been nothing. The Seattle running game, my goodness, spit it out, Lucas, has just been so hit or miss. Like, do you actually just play a red hot run game right now in Carolina? I mean, two of the easiest matchups in the entire world. How much does that factor into things too? I think that's a legit conversation. That's like the breaking point for sure in my mind.
Teams have run for 200 more, or running backs, I should say, have run for 200 more yards on the Jets than they have on the Texans this year.
So,
and that's
the other problem I have with the way you, we'll move on here after this. The other thing that you proposed about this question is you said Rico or Chuba. Which are you choosing? Which one are you choosing out of that? Because it's got to be one or the other. I don't know if I would start both over Ken Walker.
Well, what are the chances? What are the chances that you have both Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard? I was more so saying, like, if you have one of them on your team, would you play that player over Ken Walker? Not, I have both. Am I playing both over Ken Walker?
But I still think it matters though, because if I had, because what if Chuba ends up being the guy and you have more strong feelings that way? Like, I don't know. We're going too long on this, but I think that's a fair conversation. People get the point of, like, you might actually be considering one of those Carolina Panthers running backs over Ken Walker this week. Maybe do ride the hot hand and Rico Dowdle and play him instead. I'm going to move on. And I'm going to make mine quick because mine's Michael Carter, and I really shouldn't need to do much convincing for you all on this one, because the Cardinals really want to pretend they can afford to be cute by splitting touches between Michael Carter and Bam freaking Knight. That's their decision. They're not a team that can afford to be cute enough to do that. You now boil in a piss poor matchup against the Green Bay Packers. Only 331 rushing yards allowed to running backs this year. That is the fewest in the league. The fifth fewest fantasy points per game allowed to running backs as well. Just don't bother. And I really doubt either of you to have anything to add. Just don't bother in this game. Even though Michael Carter looked like the better back last week when you turn on the film, just don't, because this Cardinals team is just utterly discombobulated and broken after the Tennessee Titans game last week, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me.
No, I'd agree. I don't really have any interest in trying to figure it out.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Underdog, where you can get into the game this season playing Pick'em. It's extremely simple. Just pick higher or lower on 2 or more of your favorite players. For example, I'll pick the higher on Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Xavier Worthy. If I played $10 and got all 3 of them right, I would win $60 just by watching football. And that's the beauty of Pick'em. You can track your picks and your wins while you enjoy the game. Now, if you're not on Underdog yet, scan the QR code on your screen or use our code FELLAS when you sign up, because new customers will get $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5 on the app. Plus, Underdog will give you a free pick to use in your first entry. Again, that's code FELLAS over on Underdog. Now let's get you back to the rest of the show. All right, fellas, let's move on to the wide receiver position now. We've covered running back starts and sits. Cameron, I'm not surprised whatsoever to see that your hero, Keenan Allen, is your start of the week this week. But I also don't hate it, right? If QJ is still going to be dealing with a hamstring injury, this seems like a pretty great spot to fire up Keenan Allen.
Yeah, he's been extremely consistent, averaging over 8 targets a game so far, Mr. Keenan Allen, 10th in targets on the season. Oh my goodness. It's so great to see. It brings so much joy to my heart. This dude is on pace for over 130 targets on the season right now, guys. Like, we were counting him for dead, and he is on pace for 130 targets, a third of the way through.
Hold on. What a sweeping statement. We all counted him for dead. We all liked Keenan Allen.
We did, but he was where he was drafted. Nobody was taking him early because we didn't think he was going to be on a team. I'm just saying. He's now gets Indy, who is given the 5th most points to the wide receiver position. He's performed with QJ in the lineup. Without QJ, I think he is just fine. Him and Justin Herbert have some sort of connection that just works. So yeah, I know it's been a couple down weeks in a row, but I'm going to trust that the volume's still there in a good matchup for Keenan Allen.
Yeah, and the reason why I say if QJ is still dealing with a hamstring injury, I mean, look, he sat out due to a hamstring concern last week, and hamstrings typically take longer than 2 weeks to fully recover from. So that's why I say, you know, if QJ is still dealing with a hamstring injury like Ty, this becomes even more of a smash spot for Keenan Allen.
Yeah. QJ was practicing on Wednesday, so that does
yeah. Again, as we're recording Wednesday evening, right? And a lot of you will be watching this Friday, Saturday, probably before kickoff. So just so you know, we're working on literally 1 day of practice reports here.
So if QJ plays, the ceiling takes a hit, but you can still play Keenan Allen. The player that's most impacted by QJ's return is not Keenan Allen, it's Ladd McConkey. So I'm okay playing Keenan regardless if QJ plays or not.
Yeah, I would agree. Ladd is going to be the one more impacted. Maybe you can say, oh, a target or two is siphoned from Keenan, but in terms of the grand scheme of fantasy production, we have seen when it's QJ, Keenan, Ladd in the lineup, it's gone in that order. QJ, Keenan, Ladd. So even if QJ's in, I think I'm with you both. Keenan Allen is a fine start this week. Ty, you're gonna steal my start of the week from last week. It could have gone so much better if it weren't for refs throwing ridiculous flags on Stephon Diggs last week. Yet now he gets a phenomenal matchup with the Titans once again this week. I'm with you. Fire him up.
Tennessee plays the second most too high safety coverage and cover 4 in the league. That's shell coverage all day long. So let's take a look at the top 2 receivers on the Patriots. Kayshon Boutte and Stephon Diggs. Lucas, if you had to guess what Kayshon Boutte's ADOT this year,
Oh gosh,
what would you guess?
it'd be much higher than Stephon Diggs, I would tell you that.
Oh, okay. How about nearly double?
Yeah,
How about
okay.
nearly double?
I believe that. Yep, I believe that.
16.1 ADOT this year for Kayshon Boutte.
I would have shot
Compared
like
to-
12 and a half, 13.
Yep, get that sucker up. Stephon Diggs, 8.5. So this is a perfect Stephon Diggs game to take advantage of all the underneath stuff because you're going to have coverage downfield that takes away the deep shots. Yes, Diggs has been getting deep looks. I'm not expecting those to hit in this game, and that he's going to take advantage again of the stuff in the short game.
46 and a half feels silly. Receiving yards for Diggs this week over on Underdog, code fellas, if you want to go take advantage of that.
Don't mind if I do.
This to me is like a smash dig spot with how red hot this Patriots offense has been. Again, it didn't pan out last week, but if it weren't for literally the tickiest of tackiest calls on Stephon Diggs, Cam, we're looking at a significantly better week last week. And that receiving yards line isn't at 46 and a half. It's actually closer to like
It's
62.
48.5. Oh,
Did they bump it up already?
it's already gone up.
Oh,
Oh man.
I created these graphics like 2 hours ago.
Oh, wait a
Still taking
second.
it.
Not even.
Receptions are at 4.5.
Ooh,
I like
Still-
that.
still taking it. Yeah, he's gonna get volume, and you might as well get it while you can right now before they trade for Chris Olave. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Get out of here, man.
You're right,
Hey.
Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers.
Yeah,
my bad.
Jacoby
My
Myers.
bad.
Bringing him home.
But yeah, no, Drake May's been cooking. So if you got a guy who's probably their wide receiver 1, I'm gonna go get him. And I think Stephon Diggs has that potential. We've seen a couple games with it. Bad defense, bad team. It, like we said earlier, it's a revenge game for Mike Vrabel. I truly think he's gonna try to get this team to put up 50 on Tennessee. So yeah, I want Stephon Diggs.
He might literally want to bury this Titans team alive.
Yes.
On Sunday. I would not be surprised by that. at
Yeah,
all.
he might suit up. Like he might play linebacker. And
he might,
Harold
he might
Williams
take a free
practice
shot
stuff.
at Cam Ward.
could you imagine if they called an all-out blitz and here comes Mike Vrabel up the middle, and just wallops Cam Ward, stands up like double bird to the sky at the Tennessee owner. It's in Tennessee. Oh, I mean that would be the greatest thing.
Oh
I want this so bad now. Can we?
It would be
Script
awesome.
writers, can we make this happen, please?
Come on.
Can we get Mike Vrabel?
Rush
suited
order it,
up?
Goodell. Let's go.
Yeah, seriously. Oh man. You two went a little bit more fringy. I want to remind the people that Rashee Rice is back this week, and you have literally been waiting the entire season to play him. So why would you not play him this week? Don't give yourself a reason to not play Rashee Rice this week, okay? Rashee Rice has torched the Raiders for his career. He's averaging 18.2 fantasy points per game in 2 career games against the Raiders. And this Raiders secondary ain't any better this season. They're top 5 in yards, receptions, and fantasy points per game allowed to wide receivers. 4th most fantasy points allowed to perimeter wide receivers specifically this year. Don't overthink it. Don't psych yourself out. Patrick Mahomes is playing very good football right now. Rashee Rice has been his top passing option. He's now getting back with Patrick Mahomes this week. This can only mean good things. So please, 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 please play Rashee Rice. It's a smash spot. Don't overthink it. You've been waiting 6 weeks to do this. Just put him in your lineup. Don't worry about any of the logistics stuff. He might need ramp up time. They might not play him the 100% right away. Play him. Put him in your lineup. You've been waiting all season to do it. It's a great matchup to do so.
He posted a hype video of himself getting ready to come back from
top 10. Top 10.
So
lock it in. Lock it in.
He's ready to go. I'd start Rashee Rice for sure.
Ty, anything you want to add?
It was a great like backstage promo type video. You know what I'm saying? That like he's like cutting a promo and the cuts to the workout and all that, they get you hyped. That's all I can say.
I was ready for it to be like some like Hyundai commercial or something like that at the end, but I guess he wouldn't do cars, but never mind. All right, next player.
Oh, gee.
Sorry. I didn't mean to.
No way. No way.
That is my bad. Producer, we need a cut. We need a cut, producer. I was not intending that. It just happened.
Take away that man's mic. Take it away for 2 minutes. Helmet, 2 minutes.
Oh no.
It slipped out. Oh man.
Oh my gosh. Oh, see, this is look, I'm not saying that was a valid joke to make, but it's just the tomfoolery you get by subscribing to the channel. You want fantasy football insights, you get distasteful jokes.
My bad.
As well. Cameron, yeah, maybe if you want a chance to redeem yourself, you can tell the people why they should be sitting Juwan Jennings this week.
Well, because he has 13 cracked ribs. He was airlifted out of the stadium last game, but he's still going to play because he is so tough. He has a high and low ankle sprain. I mean, I truly don't know how this man is standing. But, yeah, he's going to be playing banged up. I don't know what extent it is. And on top of that, we don't know if it's Brock Purdy or Mac Jones. Not that it seems to matter, unfortunately, for Brock Purdy. But Atlanta has made quarterbacks uncomfortable this year, to say the least, including Josh Allen last week. So not a great matchup. Still probably banged up. I'm just not going to risk it with Juwan Jennings, who just showed, hey, I can put up a goose egg, and Mac Jones trusts Kendrick Bourne more than he trusts me. So yeah, I'm staying away from Juwan Jennings.
It's just another season where I'm wondering what the heck is actually in the water over in San Francisco, man, because I don't know how Juwan Jennings can start the season with one injury, and now it's halfway through the season. Like you said, it's like 13 different injuries that he's now carrying week in and week out. And Ty, Atlanta, it's not the greatest matchup in the world for wide receivers.
Nope. AJ Terrell is back for Atlanta too. So if there's an outside receiver that he shadows, it's going to be Juwan Jennings. So it is really like all signs point to bench Juwan Jennings.
No bueno.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we talked about this matchup earlier with the Chiefs. Ty, you're going back and saying, hey, Jacoby Myers, no bueno. Geno Smith is playing some very bad football right now. And I almost wonder if that's putting it too gracefully.
You are way kinder than I am. Way more kind.
You can tear into him. I'm all for it. It's your player. I wasn't going to lay into Geno too hard. I'll let you do that.
This is why the people didn't write back to you the first time, Geno, because we all knew this was coming.
Got him.
Roasted.
Just saying. Anyway, the last time we saw Jacoby Myers have 8 or more targets was back in week 2. We are a full month removed from that. Okay. So maybe this is more obvious than I initially thought, but in that same span over the last month, Jacoby Myers is closer to the wide receiver 100 than he is to the wide receiver 1 in usage.
Yikes.
This man is just not a part of the offense like he used to be in the first 2 weeks of the season. Very similar to Tony Pollard, all the trade talk rumors that are happening with Jacoby Myers would not surprise me if we see a decrease in playing time as we try to get Jack Besh more in the mix here as well. This is not the time to get cute with it. I don't care if it's Kansas City and now weird things happen in this kind of matchup, because they have. I don't care. Jacoby Myers is not really a part of this team at this point in my eyes.
Yeah, and not a part of this team. I think that's a very harsh way of putting it, but also like based on his usage, he's not any different than the Trey Tuckers of the world right now, right? And you're like, well, do I fire up Trey Tucker this week? The answer is probably no, which is kind of where you're at with Jacoby Myers as well, Cam.
Yeah, it's just why trust Las Vegas when you have other options. Genty's the only guy I'd be trusting. I'm like, even if Bowers plays, I don't know if you're trusting Bowers this week.
Well, they said.
I mean,
like,
you're
long
starting
haul
him
with him.
I think you're starting.
Yeah, right.
Bowers,
you're not like locking Bowers in as a solidified top 5 guy this week.
Yeah, no, 100%. You're not going, oh, he's going to win me away a week. It's like, oh, let's please get 6 targets, you know. And I think it's the same thing with Jacoby Myers, and it's kind of a scary place to be. So thanks, Chip Kelly.
Whatever the heck is going on over in Vegas right now, whatever it is not going according to plan. I feel so terrible because every time I say to sit Devonta, this is my Ken Walker for you, Ty, right? Where it's like every time I say something negative about Devonta Smith, he's due to pop off for about 120 yards on 7 catches or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if he tears up the Vikings this week, you're welcome in advance. So if you want to go ahead and fire him up, I guess you can. But like Devonta, he's been held to single-digit fantasy points in 4 or 6 games to start the year. I just don't know where you pick your spots unless if there's a guy like Pat Surtain, right, who's dead set on taking care of AJ Brown, so Devonta Smith can actually accumulate open and on target looks. And really last week too, it seemed like a great spot to bounce back against the Giants. Eagles took a bad loss against Denver. Devonta Smith coming off a great game. Why don't you go ahead, come up for blood and take out this Giants team? But 49 yards on 4 catches where they were trailing against the Giants, a secondary that can be exploited. I like the thought of starting him this week. Just it becomes even more deflating when you look at that. And Minnesota, tough, sneaky tough in the secondary, or just easy to run on. I'll let you decide. But only DK Metcalf and DJ Moore have beat them for more than 50 receiving yards this year. DJ Moore had 68, and only DK Metcalf had more than that. They're allowing the fewest fantasy points per game to perimeter wide receivers and the 3rd fewest to the slot. This is not a spot I want to choose with Devonta Smith here. I don't know who you can trust in this Eagles offense right now. You're probably starting AJ Brown because he's the alpha, but like this also isn't a spot that I really love AJ Brown in either. So I don't know, man. Hand up, Cameron. You got something you want? Oh,
I'm pleading the 5th. I will not be speaking on Devonta Smith this time. Ty, it is up to you.
Fair enough, considering Devonta Smith is your guy. How is Devonta Smith projected more receiving yards than Stephon Diggs?
He's a beast. Because he's unreal.
I feel
if
like
anything, they both should be set at 49.5.
Slim Reaper.
Right.
That's baffling to me.
I want to confirm this. This is because I feel like if the lines are moving as much as they have already, there's a chance it's up to 50.5 now.
Okay. Only 1 yard, but still, I would expect him and Diggs to be at least even. If Diggs not at like 52.5 and Devonta at 50.5.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's because they think all the attention's going to go to AJ Brown, so then Devonta Smith can then feast with what's left. And the most important stat here is that Devonta Smith is their slot receiver, and the Vikings are limiting yards out of the slot. So yep. I don't know what's gonna move, what's gonna budge first, who's gonna blink first. I'm gonna take the offense that is way too inconsistent right now. And you're thinking I'm talking about Minnesota. It's Philly.
I also think this could just be a Saquon Barkley game. Like, could it be that simple that the Vikings can be run on? We've seen guys like Bijan take care. Look, I'm not questioning the talent of Saquon. I think he's still one of the best running backs in the NFL. But is this also a game where he just decides enough of this? I'm going to take over and smash this porous Vikings defense, even though they're coming off a bye. TBD. We'll wrap it up with some quarterback and tight end options here for you all. But before we get there, we will be going live on Sunday to answer all of your start-sit questions leading up to kickoff. So if we didn't talk about one of your players in this episode, again, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell as well, so you know when we're live on Sunday. We will take care of as many of your start-sit questions as possible before kickoff. And I'm going to say like 99% of the time we do get through almost all of them. So until you all decide to break our live stream, there's a pretty good chance we're going to get to your question. So make sure you tune in on Sunday for that. Cam, I'll have you start with the quarterbacks here. Jared Goff against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is always a fun game between these two teams.
Yeah, obviously Tampa Bay has no healthy starters other than Baker Mayfield. It is going to be Baker throwing to guys you maybe have never heard of, guys you can't see out there because Ted Johnson's so small, but
Tiny Tez, baby.
It'll be interesting on Baker's side of the ball. Jared Goff, Tampa can be thrown on. He's throws touchdowns. He has 14 of them on the year, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the most in the NFL right now. So I'm banking on him throwing 2+ touchdowns, which usually equates to a top 12 performance. So that's kind of where I am with Jared Goff. He has a ceiling, like he showed against the Bears where he can throw 5 touchdowns. I'm not banking on that though. He's more of kind of that safe streamer that's going to get you 16 to 22 points somewhere in there.
And Ty, your favorite stat to always point out for the Detroit Lions, Jared Goff at home in Ford Field. Always plays better at home, does Jared Goff. All quarterbacks play better at home, but Jared Goff, oftentimes it is sometimes
he is
very
completing
much
76% of his passes right now.
He's still, it's still absurd what this offense is actually doing from an efficiency standpoint this year. When we thought they'd take a step back, it took them 2-3 weeks to figure it out. But yeah, Jared Goff is still playing some solid football right now for the Detroit Lions. Another Monday night doubleheader too. What's up with all these Monday night doubleheaders this year?
And not just like the 6-7 o'clock start. The second game
6,
starts at
7.
9 Central.
9, yeah.
What the heck is up with that?
I don't know, man. I don't know what we're doing. NFL's raking in the dough this year. Those greedy punks over at the NFL front office. Anyways, Ty, we can get gross here. I got gross with Mac Jones last week. Here's your pass to get gross this week with Spencer Rattler.
I can't tell if using this picture of Spencer Rattler is just kind of a slap in the face of being like, this is what you get for talking about such a gross name, but it is what it is.
Fair enough.
Is what it is.
I guess we can all
He's
agree
not the most photogenic individual. It's not a diss on Spencer Rattler, but
it's not even a diss on Rattler. It's the fact that you chose the jersey combination. You could have chosen like many of their road games or something like that. No, you chose the week 1 absolute puke
This
jerseys
is our next
that they wore.
giveaway jersey right here. Spencer Rattler.
the Spencer Rattler baby vomit yellow.
Signed by like me.
We might lose subs if we ran that. I think that's how that it would go.
Backwards R for Rattler.
Yes. This is essentially a bet on Spencer Rattler to throw for multiple touchdowns. Because his best fantasy performance back in week 2, he had 21 fantasy points and 3 touchdowns. In all the other games that he's thrown 1 or less, which is quite literally the other 5 games, he averages only 13 fantasy points. Chicago's allowing the most passing touchdowns on a per game basis this year. So if there is a game for Rattler to throw multiple, I think this is the one. I understand it's probably too gross of a name. You look at this picture and you're like, gosh, I'm not even
want this man near my fantasy team.
Nuh-uh. I'm just letting you know, you can do worse this week, and it's a really nice matchup. That's all that I'm really pointing out.
Only one quarterback has thrown for less than 2 touchdowns against the Bears this year. Dak Prescott, the only quarterback. So, yeah, good chance. I think Spencer Rattler has a chance to throw multiple touch, which if you want to go ahead throwing a long shot, 1.12 multiplier on 1.5 passing TDs for Spencer Rattler in this game. Don't hate it if you want to throw a long shot.
The exact number that Chicago is allowing is 2.6. So round up, that's 3 touchdowns. That's what they're averaging. I'm just
round up.
Giving you what the stats are.
Round up. I'll go ahead. You can stream me this week if you really want to. I know it's a London game. The London games have been pretty. I know. I should honestly probably be there right now.
You're gonna pack up your PS5 and just play it on the plane then?
I probably will, honestly. Yeah, I probably will. Only 2 quarterbacks have thrown for less than 295 yards against Jacksonville this year. And only the Cowboys and Bengals have allowed more passing yards to quarterbacks this year. I think Matthew Stafford can't take the top off this Jaguars defense. They're allowing the 3rd highest average depth of target this year. So you can go ahead and fire up Matt Stafford, even without Puka Nacua. You get some more Tutu Atwell downfield shots in this game. Devontae Adams is going to have himself a field day. Very interested in the vet on the road. In London, this week against an exploitable Jaguar secondary. Wrap it up with the tight end position here, Cameron. Zach Ertz, frequent flyer on this list.
Yeah, I think he could score a touchdown. I'm not convinced that Terry McLaurin is back this week, and even if he is, I don't think it's going to be fully back. And he plays Dallas, and that's really the analysis is he plays Dallas. So I'm going to bank on him catching a couple passes and maybe scoring a touchdown.
If you didn't hear Cameron, he plays Dallas this week.
Wait, who does he play?
Not Micah Parsons.
Not Micah Parsons. He plays the Dallas Cowboys this week. Dallas Cowboys. That was a terrible. I can't make jokes like Cameron. Maybe I don't want to either. Taya, we talked about Harold Fannin last week.
Gerald Fannin.
You try to one up the Rashee Rice Hyundai.
No.
That's
not what I was.
Cowboys joke.
That's not what I was. No, I was not trying to one up it. I'm just saying.
He's just throwing his hat in the ring.
just saying. The Dallas Cowboys didn't even land a smirk. It didn't even land a. It just immediately, Lucas. That was the dumbest thing you could have said in that moment. No pity, no nothing. Just almost worse.
It was hilarious. All right.
Thanks, Cameron. Harold Fannin. For those
fanciest tight end we've ever seen.
Those of you who are newer on the parts. Yes, we once had a conversation about Harold Fannin being the fanciest tight end we've ever seen since Pete Carroll's Gerald Everett back in Seattle. I digress, Ty. Harold Fannin was my stream last week, turned in a great performance. You got David Njoku still banged up. Sorry, I should stop talking before I steal all of your thunder here.
I don't know if I have as much interest if Njoku plays, but
sure.
He does play the Dolphins. He plays
the
Dolphins.
Ooh.
So, I mean, if Njoku plays, I don't know if he's going to be 100%. Yeah, there's a lot of ways that you can draw it up, but I feel like Harold Fannin has proven his doubters a little wrong, me included. I was all aboard the Harold Fannin is a fullback train during the draft, and Kevin Stefanski has said, no, he's actually the next David Njoku. And
he's actually the fanciest tight end I've ever seen.
He's essentially Gerald Everett and David Njoku put together, except we took off a couple inches in the height category. Yeah, fire up Harold Fannin. I would at this point with the matchup and his role in the passing game. I don't care if it's Dylan Gabriel. He's going to get the ball.
Yeah, he'll get the ball if Dylan Gabriel is going to continue checking it down underneath, not pushing the ball downfield. Harold Fannin will absolutely be involved. Look, you're probably tired of hearing Mason Taylor at this point, but I think this is like the perfect opportunity if someone in your league dropped him after the abysmal performance from the Jets last week. This is the week you go ahead and fire him up. No Garrett Wilson, obviously. I'm expecting the offense to funnel their second lowest ADOT passing attack through the rookie tight end. I'm just saying. If it's all going to be underneath anyways, you may as well target the guy who's running routes underneath anyways, which will be Mason Taylor. The Panthers, phenomenal matchup this year. Giving up the second most fantasy points to tight ends this year. And excuse me, it's not what I expect the Jets to do. Aaron Glenn has made it very clear that what kind of question is that? We're not switching quarterbacks this week, but if the Jets decided to make the spontaneous decision this week and actually switch to Tyrod Taylor, it honestly might not be the worst thing for Mason Taylor. So no matter the circumstances, I think Mason Taylor is a perfect plug and play for your lineups at the tight end position this week if you are in need. We'll put a bow on it there. We'll put an end to this episode that it was an episode.
It was.
We got off the rails and then we got it back on and then almost derailed it again, and then we kept it on. Hopefully,
and we still somehow managed to keep it to less than an hour, which I can't believe that.
Hopefully, no one took the Spencer Rattler giveaway too seriously. That's not happening.
Sorry, Lucas. That was my bad. Well, you can find us on the socials. FFL is on the X, at Lucas Wenzel for Lucas, at Camla FFF for me, at Tyler_Path for Tile. The FFL is on Instagram, Fantasy Football Fellas for TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. And no, Lucas is not wearing shorts today. He is wearing pants. But if you want our shorts page, you can find us Fantasy Football Fellas Shorts over on YouTube Shorts.
I can't believe that the crash just flew over your head. That you just kept going as if it didn't happen. I'm just like, oh, come on. That was the most subtle slide. Oh,
I'm pretending that this is not happening. That this was not a real thing.
The beam with all the fire in the background. Everything is fine.
Oh, I was thinking the Elmo meme.
Oh, the Elmo one. That's more accurate.
That's how I was thinking. The Elmo fire in the background. All right, we should turn off the cams here. Thanks so much for tuning in, y'all. We'll see you on Sunday for the live stream. Deuces.
Deuces.